2013 is officially over. That means it's time to reveal my top 10 of the year. My number 10 is Captain Phillips. Captain Phillips is directed by Paul Greengrass, and it's the true story of Captain Phillips, played by Tom Hanks, whose boat basically gets hijacked by Somalian pirates. And it's just such a thrilling ride. It's such a thrilling film. You know what happens in the end. This is a true story. It was in the news. You know what happens, but it makes you forget that you know. It made me forget that I knew what was going to happen in the end. And I was just along for the ride completely. The acting is brilliant. Tom Hanks is so great. And the men who play the Somalian pirates, who I believe have no really previous acting experience, are so authentic and real and really, really, really just get to you. It's really a great thriller, and as everyone has already talked about, the last 5-ish minutes of Tom Hanks' performance where he breaks down is some of the best acting on screen this year, and probably of his own career. So my number 9 film is The Dirties. I had the chance to meet the director, Matt Johnson, and the other people who were part of the film, basically everyone who was part of the film. I got to interview Matt Johnson, I got to write about this movie in various places. It was kind of a big thing for me as a film critic, because it was one of the first experiences I had really doing the whole film criticism thing and doing interviews and stuff. And I've seen The Dirties a few times, so I've analyzed it a lot. I think this movie is really clever. I think it's really underrated. It didn't come out big, but it did pretty well. Matt Johnson is a York University student. I go to York University. I have a little bit of pride in that, and Canadian pride in general. It's a Canadian film. It's small, but it's kind of making quite a wave for what it is. And it's about Matt and Owen, two best friends who are bullied at their school, and I think that it's one of the most realistic depictions of bullying in any film. It feels real watching it. It has this mockumentary style to it, and it's a little bit confusing to explain, but basically they are making a movie within the movie about killing the bullies at their school. And it starts out as kind of a joke, but it gets more serious as the movie goes on, and the movie also teeters with this tonality of comedy and moving into something a bit more serious and dramatic and disturbing. I think it's very easy to dismiss this film, but I think it really says something important about bullying, about celebrity, about fame, about a lot of things, and the shift that this character goes through of, at first, being a person experiencing things, and then his obsession with this idea of showcasing that to the world, of being more a character in his own life, I think is kind of profound. My number 8 of the year is Nebraska. Nebraska is directed by Alexander Payne, and it's about a man who thinks he has won this sweepstakes contest. It's kind of those bullshit things you get in the mail where he's won $1 million, apparently, and it becomes this thing where he really thinks he's won it and he wants to go get this money, but it's kind of in another city, and his son takes him on a road trip to go get his prize. And it's this really sweet story about this father and son who kind of get to know each other, and the small town in Nebraska and the real people who inhabit it. And it's very poignant and very, it's so funny because it's so true. It's just so, I thought it was hilarious, and the performances are all really great. Bruce Stern, Will Forte, who we've never really seen treading this dramatic ground, I think he does so well in this movie. And June Squibb, who might be my favorite supporting actress performance all year, who's just hilarious and scene-stealing in this movie. It's really funny, but it's very honest, and it really captures this small town and what it's like to be there. And Alexander Payne does that by utilizing not just actors, but people who haven't acted, people who are actually from that town. And it's also in black and white. It just has this really cool cinematic feel to it, and I really enjoyed it. My number 7 film is The Wolf of Wall Street. Is Martin Scorsese's film, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill. Leo plays Jordan Belfort, the true, real person, who has a biography as well about his experience of basically conning people on Wall Street, selling stocks to the 1% and taking people's money blindly and becoming really, really rich. This is a movie about excess, and it does so by being an excessive film. The film is 3 hours long. We see Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort in probably one of his best performances ever, and I say that as a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. We see him just become completely lost in this obsession of money and drugs and sex and excess and everything and anything, and he's just crazy. He's lost his mind. I feel like it's a movie that really just lays it all on the surface and doesn't judge this character. It just shows you what it was like for him, and the narrative itself is just kind of a little bit in his favor, but it does so in such a way that it makes you feel kind of disgusted. And despite that, I mean, it's a fun film. It's funny, it's over the top, it's craziness, it's just everything you could think of. I don't know, it's got some of the best scenes of the year, and it's just enjoyable. It's the fastest 3 hours you'll experience in a theater. It's energetic. It makes you feel like you're on these drugs that they're on. It's crazy. My number 6 is Short Term 12. I saw Short Term 12 at the Locarno Film Festival back in August. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. Thinking about that movie makes me remember how it made me feel when I watched it, and I still get goosebumps just thinking of certain moments in this film, because there are moments of this movie that are just so heart-wrenching and brilliant and fragile and make you feel so many things. It's a story about Brie Larson plays Grace, who works in this kind of foster care facility, and everyone who basically works there is a foster child themselves, so you see this connection that they have of trying to relate to these kids, and these kids don't really even realize that they're being helped by people who understand completely what they're going through, but Grace, the character, kind of tries to hold everything in, and it's a brilliant performance by Brie Larson, who should be getting all the recognition in the world for her turn in this film, and everyone in this movie is just so great in it. Every single actor is so great. The directing and the story and the script are all brilliant. It's Destin Cretton who directed and wrote this film, and it's based on his own experience. I luckily had the chance, because I saw this at a film festival, I got to meet both Brie Larson and Destin Cretton, which was awesome as well, and being able to talk about their film with them obviously also opens up so many other things about it, but I just really, really enjoyed this movie. It's one of the most emotionally impacting films of this year. My number 5 of the year is Frozen. Frozen is the kind of movie where you go in and whatever you're feeling that day, you're going to come out feeling so happy. I've seen this movie twice, and it completely is so uplifting. It's great. It's such a beautiful film, visually and thematically and everything about it. This is the story of the Snow Queen or the Ice Queen or whatever it's supposed to supposedly be based off of. And Elsa, Queen Elsa, is the queen of Arendelle, and she has this magical power where she can turn things into ice, into snow. And she loses control and accidentally freezes over all of Arendelle and runs away and escapes. And it's the story of these two sisters, Elsa and Anna, and the love between them, and that's something so rare to see in any movie, let alone a Disney movie, and it pokes fun at its own, the conventions that it's supposed to fall into of true love and first love's kiss and whatever other typical Disney princess conventions. It has brilliant music. The music is so great. I still am singing it all the time. The animation is just breathtaking. The 3D animation is awesome. It's definitely a movie you want to see in 3D. It's just one of Disney's best achievements in a really long time. And Olaf is like my new favorite character ever. So, yeah, it's funny, it's great, it's beautiful musical and beautiful story. I love Frozen. My number 4 of the year is Spring Breakers. I adore this movie. I've seen it multiple times. James Franco is literally out of this world as Alien. His performance is one of the best of the year. I cannot believe he's not getting more attention or more recognition, and that's why award stuff is pretty much bullshit, but either way, I think he's so brilliant in this movie. So is everyone else. Not the people you'd expect, but like Selena Gomez, Vanessa Hudgens, and Ashley Benson, and Rachel Corrine, Harmony Korine, the director's wife. They are all really great in this movie, but it's not so much a movie about acting even. It's more an experience. It's like a drug trip. It's hypnotic. It's colorful. It's got Skrillex scoring. And it's such a commentary on this kind of spring break phenomenon, but even more so on the American dream, and it's almost a satire. It's funny, but it's disturbing, and it's about bad people doing bad things that are never gonna learn and that are only ever gonna cheat and get their way and be awful and nihilistic. How they don't understand like what life is really about, and they'll never understand, and nothingness. It's about nothingness. Nothingness, but replaced by excess. It's like excess to the point of nothing, and it's kind of similar to Wolf of Wall Street too, how fulfilling all your needs really can leave you empty when you do too much. My number 3 of the year is Inside Llewyn Davis. Inside Llewyn Davis is a film that left me feeling so down, but in the best way possible. It leaves you with this melancholy feeling. It's because it's a melancholy film. It's about this man, Llewyn Davis. He's a folk singer. He's struggling. He doesn't have a place to live. He sleeps on people's couches. It's a week of his life where he just encounters all these misfortunes, like trying to go to Chicago and getting stuck with two of the weirdest people ever, and getting lost and being lost in this world, basically. Lost and misunderstood, and it's funny. It's a funny movie, but it's funny in a sad kind of way. It's a movie about a folk singer. It's a movie with folk music. To me, this movie is a folk song. You could write this movie out into lyrics and someone could sing this and it would be a folk song, because it's about a person's experience and a person struggling and a person's story, and in all the kind of ways that a folk song is about that. I love the way it begins and ends. I love the cat. The cat has such a great scene moment. There's so many great moments in this film. It's just a beautifully rendered film about folk music, about someone who wants to pursue folk music, and about being misunderstood in that, and struggling and trying. And I relate to that, as I'm not Llewyn Davis, but I have my musical passions, and I also, want to be a musician and am a musician. I relate a little bit more in that way to Llewyn Davis, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful film. You have to see it. My number 2 of the year is Before Midnight. It's people who know how to make the best kind of film, and that would be Richard Linklater, Ethan Hawke, and Julie Delpy. If you are unfamiliar with me and my opinions on film at all, you would not know that my favorite films of all time are Before Sunrise and Before Sunset, and Before Midnight obviously completes that, or maybe doesn't, maybe there'll be more. The most mature of the films, it's the most cynical of the films, it's different from the other ones, even though it's exactly the same in its format. It has a different kind of story. This isn't about two people who are in love and lost in it and unsure. These are people who've known each other now for a long time and who are struggling to keep that same passion alive. It's brilliant. The screenplay is amazing. Their screenplays are just, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they make these most real seeming people, Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke, who play Jesse and Celine, two of the most amazing characters ever. They're my 2 favorite characters ever, and the way that they talk to each other, the way that they see the world and see life is just, I don't think any other characters really hit it the way that they do. One of my favorite scenes in the movie and of this year is the dinner scene, and this movie's different because Jesse and Celine aren't the only characters in the other films. It's really just them, but this introduces some other people and how they interact with others, and obviously they know how to do that brilliantly. This dinner scene and the conversation they have is just epic. I can't say enough about this movie, and I still hold it up as a favorite of all time with the other 2 films. My number one of the year is Her. Her is not just my number one of 2013. It's a new favorite movie, and it's a movie that I'm still to this day, I've seen it like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, still trying to articulate my thoughts on it. I am currently writing something about it, and it's taken me a while because I've been busy with other things, but I do really want to get my thoughts about it in a more formal kind of way than just speaking in this video, because it's one that compels me to write and to figure it out. Her is just, I think, in my short 21 years, the most relevant film that I've seen that's new, that says something about a generation, and that it makes you see something about yourself and the world that we live in. Film about technology, but even more than that, it's a film about love, and it's a film about what it means to love. I just hope, I mean, if you're interested, once I post my little piece about it, please maybe go and read it. I would love to just discuss this movie with more people, because the more people you talk to, the more you get out of it, because people think different things about it and take different things from it. And when I was watching it, I was just flooded with thoughts about so many different things, and I still haven't quite pinpointed what all of those things are. But I just know that, I mean, as a movie, it's beautiful. It's the color of it, the acting, the music. Arcade Fire, they're one of my favorite anyway, but they do the most brilliant scoring and music in this film. Joaquin Phoenix, he's one of my favorite actors. He's brilliant as well. Amy Adams, Scarlett Johansson, who isn't even a person in this movie. She's a voice, and she feels like a person. And just what this movie says about our society, about the way technology is going, and about the way that people are changing, and the way that love is changing, and this idea of love is universal, but in this film, it crosses some boundaries you may not expect. But like, what is wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? Why is there something wrong with that? What is the difference? Is there a difference between one kind of love and another kind of love? It asks so many questions. I can't even begin. That's why you gotta read my piece. If I manage to finish it, I'm hoping to, and I hope to get that out. Anyhow, those are my top 10 films of the year. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who watches, who likes, who subscribes, who does anything in regards to my videos or my writing, who follows me at all or supports me at all. It means the world to me, and I really love talking about film, and I feel so privileged, and I feel like this year has been really great in accomplishing a lot of different things for me in terms of film criticism, and it's only because I've had the support that I have. So thank you so much to everybody, seriously. And I'm hoping to take things a bit further this year, to expand my blog into something different. I don't want to say too much, but there may be some changes with Fresh from the Theater this year, and I also plan to continue writing for a whole bunch of different websites and stuff that I do. And thank you so much to everyone who's helped me with this. So yeah, that's my top 10 of the year. Thank you for watching. I hope you seek out these movies if you haven't seen them. I would love to hear what your favorite movies of the year are, or what you think about the movies that I've chosen, or anything like that. Any movies you think I should have added, or whatever. Please comment below and we can start the discussion. So yeah, here's to 2013 being such an incredible year for film. It's been a great year for me and for you, I hope, and 2014 can only get better. So again, thank you.